and let us all do we can to build a better future.
I want to hand this over now to my colleague, Daniel, who's got a story for the people.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on?
Okay, so everyone, you know how there's this guy who's trying to be president when he remembers what president means, and he's like not distracted by younger women. Well, his administration is in shambles and continues to fall apart, and I thought we would talk about that just a little bit. So, internal Democratic discord has wounded President Joe Biden's massive social spending plan, raising the prospect that the package could stall out, shrink dramatically, or even fail altogether. Myriad of problems have arisen. Moderate Senate Democrat Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema continue to be major headache for the party's leadership. Remember, when it's progressives, they're able to take them down with no issue, no problem. Put whatever it is, blackmail, whatever. When it's these guys, I don't know what to do. They're really, really hard. Anyway, House members may tank the prescription drugs overhaul the party has run on for years. Don't you love it when Democrats are like, hey, we're going to do this thing, and then when they're in a position to do this thing, they're like, we're going to sabotage this thing. Anyway. And the fight continues to brew over Senator Bernie Sanders' push to expand Medicare. If any member of Congress is not concerned that this could fall apart, they need treatment, said Rep. Emanuel Cleaver, who warned his party will pay for it at the polls if it fails in enacting Biden's agenda, which is not wrong. I mean, we've talked about how small a $3.5 trillion bill is for what it's trying to do as well as the infrastructure, but it is likely going to give them the midterm because people will feel a little better because this bill is passed. Assuming they don't cut it to pieces, which, you know. And so, again, it's like the irony is that the progressives are the only people that are holding a lot of Democrats in office as the Democrats try their best to throw themselves off a cliff. So, and this is continuing, our caucus has the feeling of freedom to support or oppose leadership. Those headwinds threaten to sap the momentum from this summer. The momentum that Democrats always have, or they always do everything all the time, everywhere. That momentum is being sapped. When Biden clinched a bipartisan infrastructure deal in the Senate and found support from all corners of his party for a budget setting up sweeping spending bill, now Manchin calling for a pause. Moderates are resisting key components of legislation, and a new fiscal fight over the debt limit is heating up. Debt ceiling is a whole separate topic that's just like stop punching yourself. That's all it is. Those dynamics have Democrats essentially looking for an internal reset from the months-long debate over Biden's agenda that keeps publicly paying out through leaks, lines in the sand, and fights over the top-line number. Quote, I wish we could all be more on the same page in terms of timing of the need to push the Americans' Families Plan, said Senator Manzi Hirino. I'm hopeful that we are going to have a meeting of the minds and not wait another year. We better have a plan B. Because I think some Democrats at least realize that, like, they have to do something if they want to get reelected. And they're like, oh, no, we have to do something. Oh, fine. Just not anything that helps regular Americans. The multi-problem pileup comes at a critical moment for the party and for Biden, who needs legislative win amid slumping approval ratings, but through polls show much of his social spending bills is popular outside of Congress. Winning approval among Democrats' slim majorities has been harder. With a 3-vote margin in the House and a 50-50 split in the Senate, which means Kamala votes, Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer can't afford to alienate either wing of their fractious party. Or else, by the way, wouldn't it be an amazing, weird thing that we'd have to kind of eat crow in ourselves if, like, progressives actually split off and make their own party? They're not going to do it. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's a dream.
That'd be interesting.
But, that sounded nice.
You didn't it make you feel better for a second?
I kind of, then reality.
Yeah, then you're like, right.
Yeah,
yeah.
there we go.
None of us will know where this is going, said Rep. Dean Phillips. This is where leadership is made or broken. By the way, just so you understand Politico and all these other places, they're journalists that they hire. The reason that they're paid and they're hired in general is because they can get these quotes out of representatives and senators. That's their entire job. This is where leadership is made or broken, plain and simple, and that's true of president, that's true of speaker, that's true of majority leaders. Manchin has been the most outspoken Democrat publicly, asking for a pause on the big spending bill with inflation rising. But when West Virginian declined to lay out his thinking Monday night when asked just how long he wants the party to put the brakes on. He said, let's see if you understand English. Not a word. So he's just playing politics. What a surprise. What a useless country we have. We're the strongest nation in the world. We have the ability to recenter our economy, our jobs, the way we live in a way that is populist and progressive into the future and maintain our power on this planet. Or we could just crash and burn because these people keep being in charge.
So, in my opinion, everyone, you can go back and forth in the chat. Maybe this will have a bigger conversation. Maybe this will get a little bit of conversation out of everyone else here. But I would compare the Biden administration to the Hoover administration right now at this point. I haven't seen this much incompetence in an administration in a very long time. And I know there's going to be a lot of vote blue, no matter who, and K-Hive people and cul-de-sac progressives saying, well, wait, what about Bush and Trump? Well, Bush and Trump were allowed to get away with everything that they did with Democrat support. The Democrats were along with the ride as well. And corporate media helped promote Bush and Trump. Okay? That's a real fact. Let's look at the failures of the Biden administration. All right? We haven't got Medicare for all. Medicaid or Medicare, it's being lowered down to the age 60. Okay, great. But there's millions and millions of more Americans that need to get health care. Let's also talk the fact that we are not getting a continuous UBI. There's a lack of a Federal Jobs Guarantee Act. We're not truly investing into our infrastructure because this $3.5 trillion budgetary plan, while it is a lot of money on paper, it's barely enough to fix our infrastructure. Climate change is a real threat. The Biden administration is still on board with pipelines, such as the Line 3 pipeline, the Line 5 pipeline. There's still that ongoing crisis with the Colonial pipeline, big oil, the prison industrial complex, the military industrial complex. Always will have a seat at the table with the Biden administration. Let's also address the fact that, again, we're not dealing anything with student debt forgiveness, medical debt forgiveness, affordable education. None of that is being given to the American people. The Biden administration ran, in theory, on these policies, but they'll never follow through with it. Also, let's look at how ineffective he is as a leader. I said this on yesterday's show. Not once have I ever heard of any Senate parliamentarian, and right now the current Senate parliamentarian is Elizabeth McDonough, have this much power over any other administration.
Yeah.
So at this point, in my opinion, the Biden-Harris administration is weaker than the Trump administration because the Senate parliamentarian, where was the Senate parliamentarian when the House and Senate were passing a lot of Donald Trump's policies?
Yeah.
Where were they at? So it's in my opinion that the Biden-Harris administration do not have the strength or political capital to stand up against a non-elected official. Also, never once have I ever seen where not one but two senators, Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema, dictate control and policy over the United States Senate and House and over the Biden administration. Yeah. The Biden administration is begging for Manchin and Sinema and also trying to get the parliamentarian on board. They're begging to get the GOP on board. Progressives, where was this whole idea of pushing Biden to the left? He is actually going to the right, and the progressives, especially in the House and Senate, are letting this happen. So when I look at this, I have to say, with the Biden administration imploding, it's revealing to everyone how ineffective he is as a leader, and this will cost the Democrats in the 2022 midterm election cycle.
I just want to also throw out that historically, who came after Hoover?
Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Now,
maybe that's the most hope I can have is that we'll be at war with China in 5 or 6 years.
No, God Almighty, because then we're not walking out of that at all.
Well, I think that it'll be interesting. China has. I'm just saying. They're supplanting us. There's never been a time in history where a supplanted superpower doesn't go to war.
That is true.
So I mean, it's like history.
Survivors will envy the dead.
History does. I don't know if we'll go that far, but I can say that history doesn't repeat, but it sure as hell rhymes, and we'll see how closely it rhymes.
I'm wondering what excuse the Biden-Harris administration will give if this $3.5 trillion budgetary package fails. But again, we're going to see further implosion because, again, what corporate media and the blue check mark people and the cul-de-sac progressives, what they're all telling us is that Biden can get things done. His administration can't even stand up against a non-elected official. His administration cannot even command the respect of the Democrats in the Senate and House.
He can't even fight Kamala's secretary.
He doesn't even know where he's at half the time. There we go.
You know what else I would do?
What's up?
If I became to help the gridlock and to make things happen,
what?
I'd make DC and Puerto Rico a state.
We'll figure that out. I mean, who knows? Who knows how this will all play out? But
I know there's
the
a balance of
midterms,
power, but
yeah,
I don't care.
the midterms at this point,
Let them raucous.
yeah. I hope it's entertaining because for me, I just wanted to see the Democrats constantly clutching their pearls, and even the vote blue, no matter who crowd saying, "Oh, you gotta vote Democrat. You gotta vote Democrat." How are you going to inspire voters to turn out when this administration is failing at every single thing? When workers are struggling day in and day out to make ends meet, and again, unemployment numbers are again not so very nice right now. Biden and Harris.
Yeah, it goes back to even one reason we're doing the radio station that Lainey brought up. I thought it was a very good reason to hedge everything on, which is, I mean, if America and China do go to war, it's going to mainly be electronic. I'm not sure how much there's actually going to be a lot of military fighting. I think there will be some, but America really can't be invaded by China, and China can't really be invaded by America. They're not going to go conventional, because it doesn't end well, but they're going to start doing a lot of subterfuge into economic fighting. So I'm glad that we're going to have a radio station by then. So at least if there's no internet to speak to you fine folks on, we'll still be able to broadcast somehow.
We'll be going right back to radio, and we can all thank the incompetent leaders in the Democratic Party and the Biden-Harris administration. Again, I want to say that out loud again: the Biden-Harris administration imploding from within, and we are all the victims of its incompetence.